avoiding corporation tax. I think what I'm most surprised about as the story develops is how many people think this is a stitch-up. I mean, HMRC did not go into those talks with Google to try to let them off the hook. They're trying to get as much money out of them as, hey, we don't tax revenue, we tax profit. And when you break down even what that profit is in the UK, a lot still has to go overseas. To me, the Google story isn't really a question of whether or not they're legally within the law. It looks like they are. The question is whether or not corporation tax is how we should be taxing corporations altogether.
And whether it's simply fair to all of those companies, hundreds of thousands of companies, who can't go to the HMRC or business and have private meetings to fix their own tax bills.
Yes, absolutely.
He said, in an unbiased and friendly way.
No, absolutely. It means that they can't be as competitive. It's true. And the Adam Smith Institute over there, we did a research paper 2 years ago, and we found that corporation tax is really a 60% stealth tax on the worker. A lot of that comes out of workers' wages. So it's possible we need to look away from corporation tax, maybe to taxing corporate sales or something else.
Margaret.
All taxes can come in the end out of people's pockets, so I think it's not a very sensible point to make. I think there are a number of things here. I picked out the Sunday Times, which actually says that there are the 6 major companies in the
6 of the 10 biggest companies
do not pay. So it's Royal Dutch Shell, BP, Vodafone, AstraZeneca. None of them pay corporation tax. And Kate said, well, we know that they did what they didn't. And one of the real sort of changes, which I have been campaigning on for a long time, but I think is imperative, is we've got to open these negotiations between the large corporations and HMRC to public account. I would take the FTSE Top 100, and I would just say they're all publicly quoted company, and let's see if we no longer have the taxpayer confidentiality, we really open it to public account, then we'll be able to see, Kate, whether they're doing the right thing. I don't think they are. I think getting away with paying no tax when it's clear you have economic activity here in the UK, you're making profits of that, and this is a profits-based tax, I think everybody feels that's wrong.
The big problem with this one is what is a profit and how much value added has there been in this country. That is a very, very intricate, difficult problem. And again, if we don't know how the negotiations were conducted, it's very hard to know whether it was fair or not.
I don't disagree with Margaret on her point about transparency. I would love to see so much more transparency when it comes to government spending and even when it comes to negotiations like this. But we live in a globalized community now, and when we tax profit, even here in the UK, when we're taxing the activity going on in the UK, we can't pretend that people in other countries don't deserve part of that cut.
Absolutely.
You know, the engineers over in California who are coming up with the Google apps, the technicians, the intellectual property on these things, that is where the money is going.
I think you're being a little bit naive. For example, the front page of The Observer talks about £30 billion sitting in Bermuda. That is the profits made by Google in Europe, sitting in a no-tax jurisdiction. And the other thing to say, Google claim, this is what makes me so cross about Google, Google claim that they don't actually sell in Britain. And who have you got on today? You've got the PR guy on. You haven't got the chief executive on. You've got the press. You've got the press. But let me just say, all the whistleblowers that we had giving evidence to us 2 years ago demonstrated not that Google are selling into Britain from Ireland. It's clear from their massive new office in King's Cross and elsewhere, they are selling here in the UK.
Margaret,
they're developing profits.
Before we leave this story, you mentioned the word whistleblower, a guy called Barney Jones, not the same Barney Jones that was associated with this programme. And he came to you with hundreds and hundreds of internal emails. And what was the essence of what that showed?
That showed that Google was closing sales here in the UK, marketing here in the UK, doing research and development here in the UK, and actually invoices were, at that time, going out from the UK.